guys, it's Bex. Welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about my fall TBR. I have obviously like so many books that I want to read in like the fall season. Not all of them are fall-ish, but all of the ones I'm going to be talking about in today's video I think are fall-ish, because as much as I like watching people's fall TBRs and them not including fall books too, sometimes you want to watch a video like this and just get fall book like recommendations or just ideas of fall-ish books to read. Not really recommendations because I haven't read any of these books. But with that being said, I believe I have 25-ish books on here. A couple of those are duologies, so technically more. Do I think I'm going to read all of these 25-ish books? No. I definitely want to start reading fall books like right now. I think we still have like 2 weeks until September starts. Fall actually starts. I think it starts on the 22nd of September. So I just want to get going on them already, but these are the books I want to read in the fall that I think are very fall-esque. So I have a list right here of all the books. I believe there's 8 books on here that I need to either buy or borrow from the library because I don't own them or they're not on Kindle Unlimited, which is not horrible. So one of them I have pre-ordered because it's not out yet, so I don't have it, but I technically have already bought it. And yeah, a bunch are on Kindle Unlimited. So without further ado, the first one I have is The Wedding Witch by Erin Sterling. If this author's name sounds familiar to you, she also wrote The X-Hex and The Kiss Curse. This is the 3rd book in that little interconnected standalone series, I guess you call it. They're like just witchy, cute, small town romances. The vibes of this series is very much like Halloween Town, where there's witches that live in the town. Granted, a lot of the people that live there don't know there's witches there, but still the whole town loves Halloween and they go all out for Halloween. They like own cute little witchy shops and stuff, and it's just a good time. I like these books. This one comes out, I believe, October 19th. So definitely more towards the middle-ish to end of fall, but yeah, I pre-ordered it the other day, so I'm excited to get that soon and read that. Next one I have is The Chronicles of Narnia. This is technically the first book in the series, The Magician's Nephew. I don't know, there's no way I'm gonna read the whole series, but I do feel like these books give just like the cozy vibes I think that fall gives off, so I guess that's why I think it's fall-ish. I don't know what this one specifically is about because they never made a movie about this story, but I at least want to read maybe this one, maybe the first 2. We'll see. I have the whole series. So if you don't know, The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis is like this magical land that some people are able to kind of be transported into. There's like creatures and magic and battles. It's such a good time. I've never read the books. I've seen the movies a lot and I love the story. I'm really excited to finally read them, so hopefully we'll at least get the first one read. The next book I have on my list I don't have, and it is a newer release. It's called The Lost Story by Meg Schaffer. I thought I would talk about this one right after The Chronicles of Narnia because the like snippet about this book says something about The Chronicles of Narnia-esque. There's like 2 kids that years and years ago, I don't know if it's like past present timeline or what, I don't know too much about this book, but there's a couple kids that like go missing and they were in this like kind of otherworldly land, kind of like The Chronicles of Narnia. And then like fast forwards way in the future to when they or one of the kids is older and they have to kind of revisit what happened to them when they were younger in the land of not Narnia, but like Narnia. I don't know what the land is called or anything, but I absolutely loved The Wishing Game by this author. And again, this book just gives me very cozy, magical vibes, as did her other book. So I'm hoping that it would be a good, cozy, rainy day fall read. A lot of the ones at the beginning beginning of this list I don't own, so the next one I also don't own yet. It's called Spells for Lost Things by Jenna Evans Welsh. To be honest, I don't remember what this book is about, so let me look it up on my Kindle for you. All I know is that Sarah Caroli read it, I think last fall. This is the author that wrote 11 Gelato, if you know that series. This is what it says. It's a novel about two teens trying to find their place in the world after being unceremoniously dragged to Salem, Massachusetts for the summer. Okay, so yeah, Salem obviously is very well known to be like a witchy city. Okay, so I don't think the main character's a witch, but it says that her aunt may or may not have been a witch, and her mother drags her to Salem, Massachusetts to wrap up the affairs of the aunt, and she meets Mason, a loner who's always felt out of place and has been in and out of foster homes his entire life. They set out across Salem to discover the secret past of Willow's mother, her aunt, and the ambiguous history of her family. So I guess mostly just her aunt might be a witch, and they're in Salem, Massachusetts, which is why it's giving fall witchy vibes. The fourth book on this list, just kidding, the fifth book is called Nevermoor, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. And this book I actually have on hold at my library, so hopefully I get it soon and we can listen to the audiobook of it, because I think I've heard the audiobook is really good. I also can't remember where I found this book, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it might be, maybe it's not middle grade. Hi Sammy, but I know it's YA. It says a breathtaking, enchanting new series about a cursed girl who escapes death and finds herself in a magical world, but is then tested beyond her wildest imagination. The end says, perfect for fans of the Harry Potter series, Sammy and Neil Gaiman, who I think he's the one that wrote Coraline. All you have to tell me is it's Harry Potter-esque and I'm gonna want to read it. Morrigan Crow is cursed, having been born on Eventide, the unluckiest day for any child to be born. She's blamed for all local misfortunes, from hailstorms to heart attacks, and worst of all, the curse means that Morrigan is doomed to die at midnight on her 11th birthday. Blah blah blah. This man whisks her away into the safety of a secret magical city called Nevermoor. It's then that Morrigan discovers Jupiter has chosen her to contend for a place, Jupiter's the man, in the city's most prestigious organization, the Wondrous Society. In order to join, she must compete in 4 difficult and dangerous trials against hundreds of other children, each with an extraordinary talent that sets them apart, an extraordinary talent that Morrigan insists she does not have. So yeah, YA, middle grade, something like that, I don't know, but I've heard it's really good. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that I saw this book on Stephanie Garber's read list on Goodreads and that she loved it. The next books I have is a duology, and that is the Anatomy Duology by Dana Schwartz. Book 1 is called Anatomy, a Love Story, and book 2 is called Immortality, a Love Story. What I do know of this series is that the main character is, I think it's like a historical book that takes place in the, it doesn't say, but I think it's like historical, and it's about this main character who really wants to be a surgeon, but she isn't really treated equally as like her fellow students. She's like the only girl, and it's kind of weird that she wants to become a surgeon because she's a girl. All they're supposed to want to do is like get married and have kids. So she gets like kicked out. So in order to become a surgeon, so she needs to somehow get bodies, corpses to practice on, and that's kind of all I know. She like meets this guy who can help her with that because he like digs graves for a living, and I think they spark up a romance. Dead bodies, grave digging, I don't know, gives me the fall vibes. So that's 2 more. The next one I have is also a series which is on Kindle Unlimited, and that is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The Naturals, if you don't know, is about this group of teenagers who have kind of abilities that help them solve crimes. So they get recruited by like the CIA or something like that to help solve crimes. So it's like Criminal Minds but with like teenagers, I've heard. and it just sounds really good. I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing, and I think, yeah, they're like trying to solve like a murder, serial killer, something like that. The next one I have by this author is a new release, and that is The Grandest Game. This is a part kind of the Inheritance Games series, or like a spin-off, actually, I should say is a better word for it. Yeah, it says an Inheritance Games novel. Some of the characters in this book are the like OG characters from the Inheritance Game series, but they're not like the main characters of this book. They put on a game to win something. I don't really know what. I don't think it really says. I believe it is told in 3 POVs from 3 different contestants in the game, and you're just following along with the characters, trying to solve mysteries, trying to win the game. They're on an island. Hopefully it's good. I really liked the Inheritance Games main trilogy, especially the first 2 books, but then her latest release before this book I didn't love so much, the Brothers Hawthorne. So we'll see how this one is, but I do love her writing. It's so fast-paced. I'm doing a bunch of mysteries right now apparently, because the next one I have is Truly Devious series by Maureen Johnson. I've actually read the first book, which is called Truly Devious, last fall, and I loved it. I gave it like a 4.5 star. There's 3 main books in the trilogy, and then there's, I believe, 2 kind of spin-off books. So I at least want to finish the trilogy this year and read the 2nd and 3rd books. They are called The Vanishing Stair and I believe The Hand on the Wall. And the first book follows this girl who's like a big crime junkie, and she gets invited to this very prestigious academy that barely has like any students, and they're all just like very good at something. And Stevie, the main character, goes there, and a murder happens while she's there, and she's also trying to kind of solve an old case that happened years and years ago at this academy. I don't know, I just thought it was so fun, and it ended on a note where you still don't know what happened. So I definitely want to keep reading it, and I know that my library has all of the books. I believe they're also on, yeah, they're also on Kindle Unlimited. Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This one I definitely think is more on the spooky end. I read Home Before Dark by him, and honestly like gave me the goosebumps, the chills. Like I was kind of spooked out. It's like haunted house vibes. But this one I think is kind of similar to that. I don't even really remember what it's about. Let's see. Ooh, Stephen King has a blurb on it. Looking for a suspense novel that will keep you up until way past midnight? Look no further than Lock Every Door. It says, no visitors, no nights spent elsewhere, no disturbing the rich and famous residents. There are rules for Jules Larson's new job apartment sitting at the Bartholomew, one of Manhattan's most high-profile buildings. Recently heartbroken and just plain broke, Jules is taken in by the splendor and accepts the terms, ready to leave her past life behind. As she gets to know the occupants and staff, Jules is drawn to fellow apartment sitter Ingrid, who reminds her so much of the sister she lost 8 years ago. When Ingrid confides that the Bartholomew has a dark history hidden beneath its gleaming facade, Jules brushes it off as a harmless ghost story until the next day when Ingrid seemingly vanishes. Searching for the truth, Jules digs deeper into the Bartholomew's sordid past, but by uncovering the secrets within its walls, Jules exposes herself to untold terrors, because once you're in, the Bartholomew doesn't want you to leave. I think his books are good for the fall because they're a little bit more spooky, suspenseful than some other thrillers that I've read, so that's why I added that one. The next book I have on this list is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I don't own this actually, but I got it from my sister for her birthday. So she has it, so I'm definitely planning on borrowing it from her. And as far as I know, this is like a fantasy murder mystery. This is kind of long. It says, in Daratana's greatest mansion, a high imperial officer lies dead, killed to all appearances when a tree erupted from his body. Even here at the Empire's borders, where contagions abound and the blood of the Leviathans works strange magical changes, it's a death both terrifying and impossible. Assigned to investigate is Anna Delabra, a detective whose reputation for brilliance is matched only by her eccentricities. At her side is her new assistant, magically altered in ways that make him the perfect aid to Anna's brilliance. He is at turns scandalized, perplexed, and utterly infuriated by his new superior, But as the case unfolds and he watches Anna's mind leap from one startling deduction to the next, he must admit that she is indeed the Empire's greatest detective. I will try to remember to put a picture of all of these books I don't own on the screen like usual, but this cover, I don't know why, but I love it. The cover is very fall-esque, as well as it's like a murder mystery detective mixed with fantasy. The next one I have on Kindle Unlimited as well, and it is a mystery thriller, and it is called What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. I kind of forgot what this book was about, and I just read it, and it sounds so good. It says, Naomi Shaw used to believe in magic 22 years ago. She and her two best friends, Cassidy and Olivia, spent the summer roaming the woods, imagining a world of ceremony and wonder. They called it the Goddess Game. The summer ended suddenly when Naomi was attacked. Miraculously, she survived her 17 stab wounds and lived to identify the man who had hurt her. The girl's testimony put away a serial killer, wanted for murdering 6 women. They were heroes. And they were liars. For decades, the friends have kept a secret worth killing for, but now Olivia wants to tell, and Naomi sets out to find out what really happened in the woods, no matter how dangerous the truth turns out to be. So, you know, creepy woods, serial killer. Excited for that one. Our next couple I do own. It's amazing, I know. The first one is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is, of course, a classic story, classic book. It's not extremely long. It's only 200 pages. I don't know if it's an easy read, slow read, fast-paced. I don't know, but I do really love this story. So I'm excited to read it, and I definitely think the fall is the perfect time. The next one kind of goes along the same lines because the next one is Dracula by Bram Stoker. Another classic. I think this one's even older than Frankenstein. I think this was written in like the 1800s, maybe the late 1800s if I'm not mistaken. I'm not going to tell you guys what it's about. This one is a lot heftier. It's almost 400 pages, and my fiance read it last year and he liked it, but it did take him a little while to read. I don't read very many classics, so hoping I get to this one this fall. This next one is very intimidating, not only because it's big, but also the genre, and that is It by Stephen King. This book is like 900 pages, more than that. Wait. Are you kidding me? I thought it was like 950. No, it's like 1150 pages. Yep, that's a big book. Definitely is going to be the biggest book I've ever read. I do think this is probably the Stephen King book that I'm most excited to read as of right now. I'm actually reading one right now, if you want to get a little sneak peek into the next video that will be out either after this or before this. But yeah, this is a horror novel, of course, by Stephen King. I've seen all the movies. It's great. I love them. And I'm just nervous because 1, it's huge, and 2, it's supposedly really scary. But again, what better time to read it than spooky season? The next one is also a horror novel, and that is Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. This has been on my TBR, not my physical TBR, but just my want to read list for a while, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but I believe it is more horror than thriller, and it's about like this author of horror novels that goes and stays in this house that's like haunted or something. At the end of a dark prairie road, nearly forgotten in the Kansas countryside, is the Finch house. For years it has remained empty, overgrown, abandoned. Soon the door will be open for the first time in decades, but something is waiting, lurking in the shadows. Anxious to meet its new guests, when best-selling horror author Sam McGarver is invited to spend Halloween night, oh my, in one of the country's most infamous haunted houses, he reluctantly agrees. At least he won't be alone. Joining him are 3 other masters of the macabre, writers who have helped shape modern horror, but what begins as a simple publicity stunt will become a fight for survival. The entity, oh my gosh, the entity they have awakened will follow them, torment them, threatening to make them a part of the bloody legacy of Kill Creek. Do I really want to read this book? No, I'm just kidding. I honestly don't get scared very easily. I like haunted houses. I like scary movies. I have read 2 or 3 horror novels. Granted, I feel like they weren't really like this. But yeah, either way, I think it would be good to read like right around Halloween at night. I just think that'd be fun and spooky. The next ones are on Kindle Unlimited, and that is a duology, the Shepherd King duology. My bad. I couldn't remember what it's called. I really don't know what this duology is about. I know that it's fantasy. I know that the magical element in it is very unique. There's like these magic cards and like magic mist or something. It's a gothic fantasy. I'm just gonna read this tiny little blurb. It says, a dark, lushly gothic fantasy about a maiden who must unleash the monster within to save her kingdom, but the monster in her head isn't the only threat lurking. There's like a mist-locked kingdom. She's thrust into a world of shadow and deception. She finds a dangerous quest to cure the kingdom of the dark magic infecting it, etc., etc. And I've just heard amazing things, and when I saw that it was on Kindle Unlimited, I was so excited because I almost bought it recently. The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. From what I know about this book, it is a like witchy Hocus Pocus meets the Salem Witch Trials vibes, where these three sisters that were said to have been witches or thought to have been witches got burned alive or burned at the stake or whatever. Oh no, they were drowned. But for a brief time each summer, the sisters return, stealing the bodies of three troubled girls so that they may seek their revenge, luring boys into Sparrow's Harbor and pulling them under. I've heard there's a little romance in there, and yeah, definitely gives Hocus Pocus vibes. And I love that because I love that movie. The next one is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Why did I think this was fallish? I think it's because it's about supernatural abilities, supernatural events, near-death experiences, about these two college roommates who, in their senior year, they share a research interest in adrenaline near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities, but when the thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. This is also I always thought it was a duology, but on Goodreads it says that there's a third book coming out, but there's 2 books out so far in this what I think is going to be a trilogy. The next one is Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. This is a standalone fantasy. Is this witchy as well? I think so. It says Prepare to be Bewitched, Stephanie Garber. I love Stephanie Garber. That's exciting. Oh, like a coven of witches. The main character misses the midnight ritual, which is a fatal mistake. She then has to turn to this guy, Wolf, who claims he is from a coven that practices dark magic. It says it's a lush romantic fantasy. So it has some romance in it as well, and just again, witches, covens. Fall. Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This is about like magical grimoires, magical libraries, sorcerers. All sorcerers are evil. Elizabeth has known that as long as she has known anything. Raised as a foundling in one of Ostermere's great libraries, Elizabeth has grown up among magical grimoires that rattle beneath iron chains capable of transforming into grotesque monsters. When an act of sabotage releases the library's most dangerous grimoire, Elizabeth is accused of treason with no one to turn to but her sworn enemy, the sorcerer Nathaniel Thorne, and his mysterious servant. She finds herself entangled in a centuries-old conspiracy. Not only could the great libraries go up in flames, but the world along with them. Another duology that I have, which I actually own both books, it's amazing, is Gilded by Marissa Meyer. Gilded is the first book, Curse is the second book, and this is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. It's YA fantasy, and it actually, I didn't think fall when I first heard, Rumpelstiltskin retelling. First of all, I pretty much know nothing about Rumpelstiltskin, like the fairy tale. But first of all, it says that it's a haunting retelling of Rumpelstiltskin, and it talks about like undead hunters, ghouls, phantoms. There's an ancient curse that the main character is trying to break. I feel like I'm rambling, so that's all I'm going to say about this duology, but I got these at the library for like $3 each. The last one I own in this list, and then I have a couple more after it, is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. Honestly, I think the only reason I added this to my fall TBR is because the title, the cover, and I think it's like a romance. Oh, it is about witches too. Amelia and her twin sister Victoria are Strege witches who live secretly among humans, avoiding notice and persecution. One night, Victoria, not Victoria, misses dinner service at the family's renowned restaurant in Sicily. Amelia, soon finds the body of her beloved twin, desecrated beyond belief. Devastated, Amelia sets out to find her sister's killer and to seek vengeance at any cost, even if it means using dark magic that's been long forbidden. Then Amelia meets Wrath, one of the wicked, who are princes of hell she has been warned against in tales since she was a child. Wrath claims to be on Amelia's side, tasked by his master with solving a series of women's murders on the island, but when it comes to the wicked, nothing is as it seems. That's it. I don't know why I read it like that. Nothing is as it seems. So yeah, fantasy, magic, murder mystery, shapeshifters, devils. Not so sure about the devil part of that, but I don't really know if I'm gonna like this book. I hope I do. Honestly, the only reason I have it is because I got it in a blind date with a book, and I might like it. We'll see. I obviously want to read it because I own it, and if I don't like it, that's fine, but we'll see what I think of it. The next one is called Gothikana by Rue Nix. It's on Kindle Unlimited. I didn't know that. So this is a romance. I think it's like kind of a darker romance. It says the eternal romance of Beauty and the Beast meets the gothic suspense of Dracula in this erotic, oh god. Yeah, okay, dark romance. Dark academia story of epic love from best-selling author Rue Nix. Okay, I don't know about that part of it, but we'll see. An unusual girl, an enigmatic man, an ancient castle. What could go wrong? Again, I'm talking so much, so I'm gonna leave it at that. But I mean, Beauty and the Beast, a castle, dark academia. I'm all for it. We'll see if I like it. Kind of out of my comfort zone, but we'll try it. And the very, very last book that's on this list is Ink, Blood, Sister Scribe by Emma Torzes. Don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably I'm not. And honestly, I don't really remember what this book is about. Again, it's just been on my radar for a while. And just the title sounds very fall-ish to me. One of the reviews on it says, follow where this novel leads and you will be lost in a bewitching spell, a book of magic about books of magic. In the spellbinding debut novel, two estranged half-sisters tasked with guarding their family's library of magical books must work together to unravel a deadly secret at the heart of their collection, a tale of familial loyalty and betrayal in the pursuit of magic and power. Magical books, library, count me in. It also says something about practical magic, like the book / movie if you've seen that, which is of course very fall-esque. All right, that is all of the books on my fall TBR. I hope you enjoyed and got some ideas of maybe books that you also think sound interesting and that you want to read for the fall. I will probably be reading some of these books and videos coming up, either for fall specific videos or just videos in general. So stay tuned if you want to see any of those and hear my thoughts on these books. Let me know if you've read any of them, what your thoughts were, which ones I should prioritize. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!